Hello, everybody, and welcome to the recording of the Conscious Parenting Specialization Introduction. I wanted to re-record this for you because unfortunately, yesterday's lecture or introductory session was full of background noise. For some reason, the internet fell where I live. I live in a place it's like a beach town. It's a wonderful place, but sometimes we have some internet issues. The beautiful pluses of being a digital nomad, right? Living in beautiful places, but then sometimes you have the downside, which is internet connective issues. So I wanted to re-record this for you so that you could get all of the information and see if this is something that is right for you, that's aligned with your values and what you would like for the future of your business and your life's mission. So let's talk a little bit about our conscious parenting specialization with the ICC. A lot of you here, from what I gathered yesterday, are already coaches. Some of you are not, and that's absolutely fine. Some of you have done the international certification program with the international coaching community or with other certifying organizations, and that's wonderful. And you're here today because something about this conscious parenting coaching resonated with you. It sounds like something that you might be interested in sharing with other people. So let's talk a little bit about it. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Vanessa Grunwald. I am a certified conscious parenting coach and have been doing this exclusively for the past 9 years. Before that, I was working in, and I'll tell you a little bit about my story further on, but I was working in a spiritual organization, also helping clients one-on-one with their personal growth. And I discovered conscious parenting after I became a parent. And throughout my years of working with thousands and thousands of clients, I created a methodology and a course called the Conscious Parenting Mastery Program and the 5C methodology that has helped thousands of parents around the world to become better parents. And what I love about the approach of conscious parenting and my specific methodology is that it's really focused on transforming your parenting from the seed level. We don't only focus on your child's behavior or on stopping the behaviors that you no longer want to have, even though both of those are a side effect of the work that we do, but really we work on this from the root level in an approach that's based on personal work. It's based on self-knowledge and emotional management combined with the practical parenting tools that you and your clients will need. So when you marry these two things, you get a beautiful, sustainable in the long term paradigm of parenting full of tools and self-connection that you'll be able to use forever. And here's one of our clients who went through a coaching package with us. And she says, at the end of this experience, I can observe how the bond with my children, my partner, my parents, and even my environment is transforming. How everything is becoming organized, healing, feeling fun, and loving. And one of the things that I notice is that in today's day and age, we have so many expectations, so much put on us, right, as human beings. And then when you become a parent, it can feel really, really overwhelming, right? You're meant to be very successful and have financial security and be fit and age gracefully and be an amazing partner and do something that's your life mission and meditate and eat organic. And like, there's so much going on that parenting ends up being something that can be really overwhelming and heavy. And there's very little sometimes enjoyment and capacity to be present with our kids. So Bricia was experiencing this, and through the coaching process that I'm going to give you at the end of our certification, she was able to really see transformation. Like, she was able to really deepen her bond, enjoy her parenting more, and use it as a way to become a better version of herself. So I want to ask you, which of these questions resonate more with you? Are you someone who wants to help your clients beyond superficial goals? Like, maybe you are specialized in business coaching, and that's wonderful. And you're creating amazing steps forward for your clients, but you're feeling like you would like to help them with something more deep, more personal, that really has to do with their overall well-being. Or maybe you want to accompany them on something deeply significant, like their parenting, which is one of the most significant processes that we go as human beings. Or maybe you're looking to develop long-lasting and transformative coaching relationships, right? When you're helping parents, you really build such a relationship where you're almost like family, where you are a part of what makes their family life be fulfilling and joyful and calm. And it extends far beyond, a 10-session process. As I'm going to talk to you in further on in this presentation, when we're working with parents, you have the opportunity to be there throughout the process, right, of your clients. Maybe you give them an initial 10 sessions, and then their kids go through another process, as kids inevitably do, right? They grow out of the terrible twos, and now they're 6 or 7 and starting grade school, and it has its own challenges. And so I have clients that I've worked with through years and years of their child's process, helping them fine tune those moments. And I really do feel like they're like family. Or maybe you want to dominate a high impact niche like parenting. You see that you're a coach and there's so many coaches out there that you really want to have something that gives you an edge, that makes you feel really confident in the high value that you're going to be giving your clients. Or maybe you want to attract new international clients with specific needs, right? Maybe you have clients that are very broad in their needs, and you want something that you can really help them see a change in. Or maybe you're a certified coach and you want to have a more profitable niche, right? And I think parenting is one of the most profitable niches that you can have. If you said yes to any of these, then you're definitely in the right place. This information is going to be for you. In this introductory session, we're going to teach you and help you understand what conscious parenting is, what it means to be a conscious parenting coach, and how to become specialized as a conscious parenting coach. And I want to thank you for being here, because I know if you're here, it already means that you're investing in your future, becoming the person that you want to be, guiding others to be their best versions of yourself. And that even though maybe you're already an internationally certified coach, you continue looking to grow, to expand yourself, to open yourself up to something that might be even more aligned with your mission. So I want you to take a moment to be like, man, that's amazing. I can't believe that I've taken this path, that I've even taken a first step towards creating the life that I want. So congratulations for that. So let's find out if specializing in conscious parenting is for you. And I want to share with you a little bit about my story and how I came to become a conscious parenting coach. I grew up in a house where love was abundant, but tools were lacking. I know that if I asked my parents, do you love me? Did you love me as a child? They would say without a second of hesitation, of course, you're the most important thing to me. And I would give my left leg for you. And I don't doubt their love for one single second. But as my beautiful neon sign says here, it says, love is not enough. We've been taught that love makes the difference, that all you need is love. But really, if all we needed was love, I'm sure that none of us would need to go to therapy. We would have unbelievable relationships and high self-esteem. And you know what? In the end of the day, most of us needed to do a lot of work to get to where we are right now. And I'm sure our parents did the best that they could and gave us so much love. But love is not enough. We need to actually have tools and work on ourselves in order to be able to give our children what they're needing. My parents had a bunch of baggage that they were carrying, and that baggage didn't allow them to be who we needed them to be. My mom had a lot of depression and self-image issues and low motivation, because she was born into a family where she was really put down a lot by her mother, and she lived a very lonely childhood, and that really translated into her parenting in many ways. And my dad was born into a household where he was very different. He was the dreamer. He was inventing different languages, and he was very sensitive. And he had this Mexican father who didn't know what to do with this very sensitive boy. And what my father understood was my value in this world has to do with my achievements. And he became a workaholic. And so we never really got to see him very much. And again, they loved us to pieces, but that doesn't mean that they were able to really give us what we needed. I wonder if you guys went through something similar to me. For me, that led me to really ask myself those deep, deep questions as I was very young. I wanted to understand why people were the way that they were, why having everything, right? My parents had two healthy girls, they had pretty stable financial situation, they had their own health, they had, tremendous possibilities, and they were happy. And I remember looking around, seeing all of these people being kind of miserable, right? Like really high levels of depression and anxiety and insatisfaction in their relationships. And I remember since I was very young thinking there needs to be something more. This can't be it. And this led me on a spiritual journey. Since I was very young, I was reading existential literature and looking for spirituality in different ways, which led me to become literally like a modern day monk. For 10 years of my life, I moved to Los Angeles. I had vows of poverty, and I spent my time teaching spiritual concepts and seeing students or clients one-on-one, talking to them about their personal and spiritual growth. And that's where I met my husband, which I'm very, very thankful for. But eventually I had my own kids, and I realized that with all of my spiritual knowledge and process, when I had my kids, it was almost as if I had done none of that. Like my kids triggered in me all of those things, my personal baggage that I was carrying. I realized that I still had a lot of work to do in order to not repeat the same patterns that my parents were repeating. And I'm wondering if that happened to you as well. When your kids were born, did you feel like they brought up all of these things that you thought that you had already worked on? And then all of a sudden you're like, what happened? How did this, how come I'm standing in this place? I thought I had overcome all of these things. Well, you know what? Most of the clients that I see, they have the same experience. They have their kids, and so much gets moved around, right? All these things start coming up for us. And there's no one really to help guide, to help take you by the hand and continue throughout this process. So that happened to me. I remember perfectly one specific day that my son was having just like, oh, such a terrible day, right? The water was too wet, the cereal was too crispy, and then it was too soft, and the dog didn't lick him enough times, right? And I remember at the end of the day, he was in the tub and he was trying to get this little figurine to sit on his wet knee. Not gonna happen. And he had like the fourth, fifth, sixth tantrum of the day, and I just lost it. And I started yelling, and I'm like, this is enough. I remember seeing his little face. He started crying more. I felt so guilty. I felt so terrible. And I grabbed him up in the towel, and he looked at me and he said, Mom, sometimes kids just need to cry. He was 3 years old, right? It's like, I just need to cry. Don't get angry at me because I cry. And it really hit me, right? I lived a lot of that when I was younger, like not having adults in my life that allowed me to feel my feelings, that helped me become more emotional and emotionally intelligent. And I realized that I was doing the exact same thing with my son. So I put them to bed and I crawled into under my covers and I started crying and crying and crying. Like, really, I want to do this differently. I don't want to pass the same virus that I got in my computer. I want to give them something better. And I started looking online. I couldn't find anything until finally I came across something that said, become a conscious parenting coach. And that changed my life. I started doing it for my kids, and it became my mission in life. It was so aligned with my values and what I wanted to do, really seeing working with parents as the seed level of the seed level of our future, right? If our kids are the next generation, they're who is going to make the changes in the next year, then who is the seed level of our kids? And it's us as parents, right? And that has allowed me to expand myself and to teach all of these concepts to people around the world. I've been able to give lectures, conferences, TV interviews, have clients from everywhere, from Switzerland to Europe to South America to the US, to really help them achieve the parenting that they really desire for themselves. So what is conscious parenting? Conscious parenting is based on the understanding that to parent successfully, we need to focus on the parents and their well-being in the same way that we do the child. There's so much information out there of respectful parenting, gentle parenting, helicopter parenting, positive discipline, gives you all of the tools of what you need to do and say with your kids. But if us as parents, we're not regulated, we're not doing okay, it's going to be really, really challenging to show up for our kids in the long term. So what conscious parenting says is that, there's a 50-50 component here. Yes, 50% needs to be the tools and the day-to-day interactions with our kids, but 50% of the work is inside of ourselves. And if we don't do this 50%, then this 50% doesn't work, right? So we know that if we don't raise awareness, we don't bring about that consciousness as parents, we parent from our wounds, we parent from our unconscious patterns, which was what was happening to me. Conscious parenting invites parents to be present in the moment with our children, connecting with them in an authentic and loving way, responding to their needs in a conscious and respectful way. And yes, conscious parenting is an approach that promotes respect, empathy, connection with our children. It's based on validating emotions. It's based on nonviolent communication and positive discipline. And it seeks to understand the child holistically, not only their behaviors and how we want them to act, but what's causing those behaviors? What are their emotional and physical needs, right? We're working from the seed level, both as parents and as children. Now, as a conscious parenting coach, we guide parents on a journey of self-knowledge through powerful questions that helps each of our clients find the answers that's within them. As I said before, there's so much information out there online, through books, through social media, that gives us these ways of acting that we should do with our kids. You shouldn't let them do this. You should let them do this. This is how you need to talk to them. But if we're not doing those actions from a place of integrity that's being born within us, then we're kind of setting ourselves up to fail, right? And that's something that I realize with my clients all the time. Each parent has the answers within themselves for what their family really needs. Now, as a conscious parenting coach, we also strengthen each client's connection to themselves. Going through a process, I'm going to teach you how to go through this process of reparenting ourselves through understanding our values, our needs, our triggers, and helping our clients apply these on a day-to-day basis to avoid that typical overwhelm, that typical mom guilt, that dad guilt, that impatience, and falling into unhealthy dynamics. We're also going to help them connect with their children's needs, promote respectful and conscious parenting, and provide them with practical tools to implement at home. We also help our clients see through their child's behavior and to be able to really see the root of what's causing these behaviors, teaching our clients to identify their own feelings, needs, and beliefs to create real change from within. A conscious parenting coach also gives practical tools to use at home when facing meltdowns and challenging situations. And this is my motto for conscious parenting. Conscious parenting is not perfect parenting. We're not expecting parents to never be impatient, to always have a smile on their face, to have infinite patience. No, but we are parents in the process of personal transformation. It's not about being a perfect parent. It's about being the best parent that you can be. It's about being the most fulfilled parent that you can be for yourself and for your child. Now, conscious parenting is based on the understanding that raising our children is embarking on one of the most profound and satisfying journeys of transformation that exists. As a parent, we, throughout our lives, face a lot of moments of vulnerability in which we're asking not only how can we help our child, but how can I be who my child needs? And as I said, it's not about creating perfect parents. It's about leading our clients to look within, to be flexible, to grow together with their children, to create these strong and deep relationships in all stages of life through the tools that I will teach you to use within our sessions. Each of us has everything that we need in order to be the best parents that we can be. All we need to do is to look inwards. And what better way to do that through a coaching process, through those powerful questions and holding space for our clients to be able to look inside of themselves. So, how do you coach parents as a conscious parenting coach? We focus on helping parents develop skills and tools that allow them to raise their kids consciously and connected with themselves and with others in a sustainable way in the long term. This implies one of the first pillars of conscious parenting, which is self knowledge, helping parents explore their beliefs, their childhood wounds, their values, their generational parenting patterns, their triggers, to understand how they're showing up in their current relationship with their children. And I want to guide you in a bit of an exercise. If you want to pause this recording for a second and go get a piece of paper or a pen or pencil to do this little exercise with me, it will be really, really enriching for you. So please take a moment, pause this, go get whatever you need in order to write this down. Now, I want you to think of a pattern of behavior or way of being that your parents had. A way of being that you frequently have with your child that leads to disconnected communication. So think of the last time you lost it, be it with your kids, or if you don't have kids, with your partner. It can be also with a coworker, with your neighbor. That moment where you lost it, where you weren't able to be patient, where you weren't that best version of yourself. What behavior did you exhibit in that moment? Did you end up yelling or pushing or hitting or humiliating? Right? Like, are you normal? Does this behavior look normal to you? I can't believe you just did that. What's wrong with you? Or blaming or manipulating or ignoring or walking away, disassociating, punishing. Think of this pattern of behavior that maybe repeats itself with your child, with your partner, that you tend to fall into. It's usually something that leads to that disconnected communication, to guilt. Now, I want you to try to remember a time where your parents had similar behaviors with you to those you mentioned before. You think of a moment where your parents used yelling or walking away, giving you the cold shoulder, humiliating you, comparing you, maybe even hitting. Some of us experience that. If we can go back in time a little bit and put ourselves in our little version of ourselves, right? That child version of ourselves. How did those behaviors make you feel? How did it make you feel when your parents used those behaviors on you? The yelling, the hitting, the humiliating. How did they make you feel? Lonely, misunderstood, helpless, hopeless, unworthy. Did you recognize how feeling that may have had an effect on you in adulthood? Like, does this feeling still show up for you in relationships, at work, with friendships, with partnerships, with your kids? Maybe you have a tendency to feel misunderstood or a fear of being misunderstood. Maybe you end up putting yourself in positions where this pattern gets repeated with you because you don't feel worthy. You have struggles with your self-esteem. You recognize how this feeling is showing up for you now, or has shown up for you in your adulthood. Now let's go even further back in time. Okay, if you could go back in time and put yourself in your parents' shoes, what do you think your parents were feeling at the time that they resorted to the disconnected behaviors we spoke about? What led them to these behaviors? What were they feeling? Were they feeling frustrated or exhausted or stressed out? What could they have been feeling? Give yourself a second to answer that. I'm going to ask you another question. Now that we know what they might have been feeling or we're reflecting on it, could you think what they might have been needing that they resorted to this behavior? What were they needing that made them feel frustrated, misunderstood, helpless, hopeless, overwhelmed? What were they needing? Were they maybe needing support? Were they needing more tools? Were they needing to set better boundaries? What were they needing? What were your parents needing when they ended up using or resorting to these behaviors? Now that you see this and you understand that your parents were needing something and feeling certain things when they ended up resorting to the behavior that you might now see repeated in your own parenting or in your own relationships, what commitment can you make right now with yourself, with your child, with your partner about the efforts you will make to create a more connected relationship with them? Maybe it's fulfilling a need. Maybe it's taking care of yourself better. Maybe it's setting healthier boundaries. There's so many ways that we can fulfill these needs in small ways that we don't even realize that we can, right? Sometimes it's something as simple as listening to a podcast or going for a walk outside that will fulfill that need that we have. Maybe it's getting more help. Maybe it's having an empowered conversation with your partner about co-parenting, right? It's in your hands to fulfill these needs that are causing this disconnected communication. So if you can think of one thing that you can commit to doing this week that would make a difference, what would that be? I would love to hear that from you. If you would like to email me to Vanessa, sha@gmail.com. I would love to hear it, or to find me online on Instagram at VANE Grunwald, GRUNWALD. Would love to hear that commitment. Now, this process, just of becoming aware of this pattern that's repeating in your parenting and becoming aware of it or in your relationships, already is going to create a change. And this is a 5-minute intervention, right, of how we use conscious parenting with our clients. Another pillar of conscious parenting is emotional awareness. As conscious parenting coaches, we will guide our clients to recognize and manage their own emotions in order to be able to respond more effectively to their children's emotions and needs. We realize that most of the time, we're not able as adults to identify our own emotions and the information that those emotions are conveying. As children, we were taught that there were acceptable emotions and unacceptable emotions, which we needed to suppress. But suppressing or ignoring those emotions as parents means that they build up. We end up losing it and being impatient and yelling and punishing and or even like disassociating and trying to distract ourselves with other things. It also means that when our child is having big emotions, we cannot self-regulate in order to help them regulate, because we are dysregulated by their emotions that we ourselves don't allow ourselves to feel. And we never allowed ourselves to feel, right? So let's do another small exercise. And you can use the same example as last time, but try to think of another. When is the last time you fell into disconnected communication with your child or partner, right? The last time you lost it, etc. That last time you were triggered, right? It can be the same as last time. So identify it, bring it to awareness. Now, my question for you is, what were you feeling? Name that emotion. What were you feeling in that moment? Were you feeling nervous? Were you feeling anxious? Were you feeling overwhelmed? Were you feeling resentful? Were you feeling tired? How many of you are having a really hard time identifying what you were feeling? I know for myself, before I started to do this work of conscious parenting, I had a grand total of like 5 emotion words, right? So I didn't even know what I was feeling. I felt very confused by my emotions. And so I didn't really know what they were telling me. There's this wonderful quote that says, all our emotions give us information. They don't give us facts, right? When our emotions are telling us, like, oh, you're pathetic, or you're the worst parent ever, it's not telling us facts, but it's giving us information. Why am I feeling this way? Something's going on that I need to address. So once you try to identify what you were feeling. And I use the wheels of emotion. This one's in Spanish. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. But you can look up on Google a wheel of emotions, and it'll give you a bunch of emotion names. It's something that we use a lot in conscious parenting and all of the downloadables that I'm going to give you for yourself and for your clients. And once we identify our emotion, our next question is, what were you needing that caused that emotion, right? If you were if you were feeling resentful, maybe you were needing support, or maybe you were needing some silence, or maybe you were needing communication to figure out, because you have a lot on your plate and you're needing someone to bounce ideas off of, right? Or if you were feeling insecure, maybe you were needing validation or recognition. What were you needing? Once we identify what we're needing, then we can start taking action to fulfill that need, right? Like we spoke about with our parents' example. They didn't understand what was going on inside of them. They didn't have the connection with themselves to know. And so they didn't fulfill their needs and ended up being reactive or angry, or, just surrendered to life instead of being those best version of themselves for us. So what is one action you can take to fulfill that need this week? And as I said before, sometimes it's as simple as listening to a song that you love because you're needing to connect to yourself again, or going on a date night with your partner, or having an empowered conversation with your partner about needing help in the mornings, or cooking yourself a healthy meal, or connecting with nature. Sometimes it's just those small actions that we can take that make a real difference in our life. And now the third pillar of conscious parenting, and something that we teach our clients to do much better, is effective communication, which is directly connected to self-knowledge, right? As parenting coaches, we teach our clients healthier communication skills that promote deep connection and trusting relationship between parents and children. I'm going to teach you play strategies. I'm going to teach you about nonviolent communication. I'm going to teach you about loving and firm boundaries, understanding your generational communicational patterns, right? Because we all have them. The way that we saw our parents communicate with each other has a deep impact with how we communicate with our kids and with our partners. And when we bring that to awareness, then we can start changing it. I'm also going to teach you how to communicate based on values. And the fourth pillar is problem resolution. So you're going to help your clients move forward in areas in the parenting that feel stuck and are generating guilt. Those moments where they fall into the same thing over and over again, punishment and reward, and having to repeat themselves tons of times, or falling into behavior that makes them feel really guilty. And we're going to help them through effective personal awareness strategies and parenting tools. And I'm going to give you a few examples. A client came to me really frustrated that her 6-year-old son was using hurtful words with his younger brother. She was really worried that that was going to affect her younger son's self-esteem. And it also made her afraid for the future of her oldest son, right? And she had tried everything, punishments, yelling. She even spanked him once, but nothing seemed to work. And she was feeling really guilty after using these methods. So it was like a vicious cycle. Together, we identified the value that she wanted to teach her oldest son, instead of getting stuck in fear and helplessness and strategies that were not working for either of them, right? And we identified that she wanted to really teach him kindness and teach him about the power of words. And based on that, we were able to create a strategy to effectively teach them those values. Another parent came to me desperate because of their child's emotional outbursts. They felt that no strategy worked for them. And they were also afraid of traumatizing their child like they were traumatized when they were younger, but they didn't know where to begin. So in the session, we were able to identify what triggered them about their little one's emotions and gave them self-regulation tools and strategies. And I also shared with them the peace process formula to guide them to feel clear and more confident when their little ones inevitably had those big feelings. And this is a peace process. It's an acronym, and I teach you throughout the certification how to use these tools, right? How to use the peace process, what it means, how to use it in the face of those terrible 2s and 3s and teenage years. And it's about really pausing and paying attention and vocalizing those emotions and needs that they might be having, and offering yourself self-compassion and connecting with empathy to your children, establishing necessary limits and exploring solutions together. Obviously, this looks very simple, but in the certification program, I explain in depth how this looks and how this process looks. So why should you specialize in conscious parenting? Today and age, there are many, many coaches out there. And this is something that was written in Forbes about what coaches are going to need to do to stay relevant. And they're going to need to incorporate new tools such as nonverbal communication, neuro-linguistic programming, which some of you already did if you certified yourself with the ICC, neuroscience, or specializing in a specific area or niche. We know that in niches is where we can have our highest value items, right? There's definitely a growing demand from parents looking for alternatives to traditional parenting. The amount of shift that happened during the pandemic, where parents realize they don't necessarily want to stick to traditional parenting paradigms or even traditional education. We're seeing a lot of homeschooling parents. We're seeing a lot of parents that are like desperately looking for tools that are going to help their kids really survive in this crazy world. And a lot of that has to do with growth mindset and emotional intelligence, which is what conscious parenting will offer them. You also have a really high rate of burnout and frustration among modern parents. They have so much on their plate. You have an opportunity to really make a positive difference in society, which is what motivates me the most. It's an untapped niche. You don't have a lot of specialized coaches in parenting. You have high satisfaction from helping with a topic as sensitive as parents. You're going to see the change and the relief that your clients are going to feel, and you're going to become part of their family, and it's something that is also going to become a recurring coaching. Like I told you, parents require constant support. Kids are changing stages all the time. New things are coming up, and you're going to be able to be there and accompany them in these processes. And it obviously aligns with values such as respect, empathy, personal development. So if these are your values, this is definitely for you. You have a high demand with low supply of specialized coaches in the parenting arena. You also have a scalable niche because this coaching can be extended to daycares, to schools, to parenting groups. You have an attractive profit margin because it's a really high value service. You don't have inventory or fixed asset. There's really low operating costs. You need maybe Zoom, a phone. That's basically it. You have a service that's not affected by economic crises. Parents are going to be parents and they're going to need support no matter what's happening. And they're really going to put their kids first. It's something that they're really willing to spend on. And you can do it online. You get international clients. And these are some of our pillars, right? Connection, co-parenting, creating healthy boundaries, cooperation, awareness, consciousness. I have this 5C methodology that I've used with more than 10,000 families through personalized coaching, but also through online courses, through schools, through daycares. I love working with schools. I've been working with teachers as well. That's been so fulfilling. And my 5C methodology has really, really brought results. Now, how does the program actually look? It's 35 hours of class. You're going to have the first piece of the training is about introduction to conscious parenting, brain science, the different paradigms, the different parenting paradigms. And then we're going to move into the basics of self-knowledge, the 5 childhood wounds, feelings, needs, beliefs, values, which is my favorite module. And then we're going to move into the parenting tools, emotional intelligence, how to set effective boundaries and limits, how to move from a conditional authoritarian paradigm. Doesn't work. That's what science is telling us these days, to an empowered, integrated limit setting paradigm. I'm going to teach you about playful parenting, effective communication, basis for successful co-parenting, and I'm going to give you a 10-session toolkit to take your clients to the best parenting self. So you'll get 35 hours of deep training live, which is super important. My training was pre-recorded, and I have been, since I certified myself, continuing to learn and certify myself in other things because I was lacking that in-person live training interaction, right? You're going to have downloadables for work at home where you're going to go through this really transformative process for yourself. And then you're going to use that for your clients. You're going to use these worksheets with the 10 conscious parenting session format. And you're going to have a lot of support and moving forward once you become a conscious parenting coach. Now, this training has access for life. You're going to be able to go back to all of your sessions as many times as you want, and you're going to get access to all of the updates. And the schedule is thought for people that live everywhere. If you're in Europe, if you're in Africa, I know some of you are, if you're in South America or North America. The next specialization is going to be from September 2nd to November 4th. There are live classes via Zoom, Monday and Wednesday, 2 hours each day from 10 to 12 p.m. Mexico time. The investment for the conscious parenting coaching specialization program is $3,500. I know it sounds like a lot. From all of my investigation, the other parenting certifications cost upwards of $6,000. So because we're in Latin America, we're able to lower our costs. We have people from all over the world, and we have also monthly payment options. And I want to just share with you, to think of it this way. As a conscious parenting coach, you will be charging clients on the low spectrum, $100 per session, to even $350 per session. So let's say for a 10-week coaching process, you will make anywhere between $1,000 to $3,500. So with one client, you could already pay the certification, get your money back, or maximum, maybe with 3 or 4 clients. And for reference, I see 4 clients, parenting coaching clients, 4 clients a day. So this is definitely something doable for you. Claudia is actually one of my clients who now is getting certified as a conscious parenting coach, and she's loving it. She said, the best transformation I'm having right now is feeling that I'm beginning to enjoy being a mother, and that my heart is filled with love and joy when I see all of this enormous progress in my children. And Brenda says, now my parenting is more conscious and present. I'm valuing every emotion and need of mine and my daughter. I'm able to enjoy being a mother, and I enjoy being me without guilt. Don't we all wish? So if you would like to register, you can use this QR code to be able to register. Or I'm going to also give you, because I heard that that link was not working, I'm going to leave you here. This is our WhatsApp for our support team, our thinking in Spanish, for our customer service team. So you can write to them directly if you would like to register. We have 3 spaces left for this next certification. If we have enough quorum in English, I am super happy and open to opening one that's specifically for our English speakers. So make sure to check out this QR code and write directly to our support team to get all of the information that you need. I'm going to be very excited to see you in the certification and to work with you to become certified conscious parenting coaches and see the amazing fulfillment that you get from doing this work. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you around very soon.